The wine glass shook slightly in my hand as I stood in my in-laws' elegant sitting room, watching them plan their long-awaited 40th anniversary cruise. Colorful travel brochures were spread across the oak coffee table, detailing a Caribbean adventure they'd dreamed of for 2 decades. The luxury suite has a private veranda, my mother-in-law Eleanor beamed to her daughter Sophia. Picture it, my father-in-law Richard added, his eyes gleaming. Sipping cocktails as the sun dips below the horizon in Barbados with the whole family there. Then he turned to me, his smile tightening in that familiar way that signaled trouble. Laura, we need to talk about the cruise plans. I set my glass down gently. After 10 years married to their son, Michael, I knew that tone all too well. What about them? I asked cautiously. Eleanor's voice was smooth, almost rehearsed. It's our 40th anniversary, a big milestone. We've decided it's for immediate family only. I understand, I said, assuming Michael and I were included. No, dear, Richard cut in. Immediate family, blood relatives only, no exceptions. The word exceptions stung like a jab. After a decade of marriage, 3 heartbreaking miscarriages they never acknowledged, and endless family gatherings where I felt like an outsider, I was still not one of them. So Michael's invited, but I'm not, I said, my voice steady despite the hurt. Don't make a scene, Sophia said, barely looking up from her phone. It's not about you. You're just not really a Thompson. Michael walked in from the kitchen, catching the tail end of the conversation. What's this about? He asked. We're explaining to Laura, Eleanor said calmly, that the cruise is for family only. I looked at Michael, waiting for him to stand up for me. Instead, he shrugged. It's their anniversary, Laura, their call, as if I were a guest at a party, not his wife. Of course, I said, my voice calm despite the storm inside. Your celebration, your rules. Richard nodded, satisfied. Good, you get it. By the way, someone needs to look after the house while we're gone. You wouldn't mind, would you? Not at all, I replied, already pulling out my phone. In fact, let me handle something right now. They watched as I tapped through my contacts. Eleanor probably thought I was offering to feed her prized goldfish. Paradise Cruises, Elite Desk. This is Laura Thompson. Account number 558,920. I'd like to discuss the Caribbean Bliss booking for next month. Richard's brow furrowed. What are you doing? I raised a finger to silence him. Yes, the booking for 9 people. The one with the $30,000 deposit. I'd like to cancel it, please. The room froze. The only sound was the customer service rep confirming the cancellation. You can't do that, Eleanor gasped, her voice shrill. Actually, I can, I said, still on the phone. Yes, process the full cancellation. Refund to the card on file, thank you. I hung up and met their stunned gazes. That was our cruise, Richard bellowed, his face turning crimson. No, I corrected. That was my cruise, paid with my credit card from the bonus I earned at my tech company, the one you call my little side hustle. But we planned it, Eleanor stammered. The whole family was going. The whole family except me, I reminded her. So now you can all stay home together, isn't that what you wanted? Sophia leapt up. This is outrageous. Michael, do something about your wife. Michael stood there speechless. Laura, you paid for the cruise? Every cent, I said. Did you think your parents suddenly had $30,000 lying around? Your dad's been retired for 6 years and your mom's pension barely covers her designer handbag obsession. I turned to Richard. I booked it 9 months ago as your anniversary gift. Surprise. You spiteful, Richard began. Careful, I cut in. Spiteful exceptions might also mention the family reunion in Miami I funded, or Sophia's bachelorette party in the Bahamas, or the $60,000 loan for your daughter Lisa's condo. You didn't pay for Lisa's condo, Eleanor protested. Ask Lisa, I said. Ask her about the anonymous down payment that saved her from foreclosure, or why she needed it, something about her husband's failed startup. Michael slumped onto the sofa. How much have you spent on my family? I tilted my head, pretending to calculate. Vacations, emergencies, loans that were never repaid, gifts for events where I was barely tolerated, about $250,000 over 10 years. The room gasped. But you never said anything, Sophia whispered. Because I thought that's what families do, I said. I thought a decade of generosity might earn me a place in yours, or at least a spot on the cruise I paid for. We'll pay you back, Richard said stiffly. I laughed. With what? Your pension. Eleanor's art collection she pawned last year to cover your car payment. Oh yes, I know about that too. Guess who covered the rest? Did you know about this? Eleanor snapped at Michael. I didn't, he said, looking at me. Laura, why didn't you tell me? Because every time I tried, you shut me down. Stay out of family business, Laura. You wouldn't understand our traditions, Laura. Well, I'm done interfering. I grabbed my purse. Your parents need a new anniversary plan, not my problem. Sophia needs cash for her latest venture. Not my problem. Lisa needs another bailout, definitely not my problem. You can't just abandon us, Sophia shrieked. I'm not abandoning you, I said coolly. I'm embracing my role as an exception. Exceptions don't pay for family trips or cover family debts. They don't empty their savings for people who treat them like intruders. This is bigger than money, Alina said icily. You've never belonged. You don't get our values, our way of life. Your way of life, I shot back. Taking my money while treating me like an outsider. You're right, I don't get it, and I'm done trying. I headed for the door, then paused. Michael, I'll be at the Four Seasons tonight. The penthouse suite. Already paid for, so I might as well enjoy it. Join me when you decide if you're married to me or your family's wallet. Laura, wait, Michael started. No, I said firmly. I've waited 10 years for you to stand up for me, to tell them I'm not an exception, to treat me like your wife, not your financier. I'm done waiting. If you walk out, Richard warned, you're never welcome here again. Promise, I asked, because that sounds like the best anniversary gift you could give me. I left, ignoring the chaos behind me. My phone buzzed immediately. Michael, Alina, Sophia, then Lisa from across the country. News spread fast in the Thompson family when the cash flow stopped. I ignored them and called my attorney instead. Sarah, it's Laura. About that postnuptial agreement we talked about, let's draft it, full financial separation, and add a clause requiring both spouses' consent for family gifts. At the Four Seasons, the penthouse was stunning. City views, a marble bathroom bigger than Alina's art studio, a chilled bottle of wine waiting. I poured a glass and stepped onto the terrace. My phone, briefly on for work emails, lit up with texts. Lisa, is it true you paid for my condo? Mom says you're lying. Sophia, this is fraud. We'll sue. Richard, no daughter-in-law of mine would act like this. I chuckled at that. Daughter-in-law? I wasn't even that to them. Then Michael, I'm in the lobby. Can we talk? 10 years of marriage. 3 lost pregnancies he'd mourned with me, even if his family hadn't. The man who'd vowed to love and honor me, but forgot to protect me from his family's disdain. Sweet 1804, I texted back. He arrived looking exhausted. Laura, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. Which part? I asked, staying on the terrace. That they treated me like an outsider or that I was funding their entire lifestyle. Both, he admitted, collapsing into a chair. Mom's hysterical, Dad's threatening to cut me off, Sophia's calling lawyers, and Lisa called to thank you. She thought Mom and Dad paid for her condo. She's been carrying that guilt for years. At least someone's grateful, I said. I'm grateful, Michael said. I just didn't see it. They're my parents. I thought their comments were just quirks. Quirks, I said. Your mom introduced me at your office gala as Michael's wife, the one who plays with apps. I'm the CTO of a company with 60 employees. He flinched. I know, do you? Because you laughed when she said it. I was nervous, he said. I didn't know how to handle it. You were complicit, I corrected. Every time you stayed silent, you agreed I wasn't family. Just the woman you married, the exception who paid for everything. What do you want me to do? He asked, voice breaking. Cut them off completely? I want you to choose, I said. Either I'm your family, your primary family, or I'm not. Either we're a team or we're not. Either you defend me or you don't. I'm done being family only when the bills arrive. They're my parents, he said weakly. And I'm your wife. The one who stayed up with you after your surgery, who backed you when you started your business, who paid for your parents' dream cruise while they called me an exception. He was silent for a long time. Then, can I see the proof? The payments? I opened my phone and showed him the folder I'd kept, because I'm a tech executive, not a fool. He scrolled, his face paling. 260,000, he whispered. In 10 years, plus the cruise, I said. They told you they were doing well financially, didn't they? That Dad's stocks paid off. He nodded, then looked at me, really looked at me for the first time in years. You tried to tell me. And you didn't listen, I said. He stood. I need to talk to them, but first, will you consider couples therapy? A financial planner. Maybe a therapist for me to figure out why I've been so clueless. I blinked. You do that? I should have done it 10 years ago, he said. Can I have a chance to do it now? I thought about it. 10 years of pain, but also love, shared dreams, the man who'd held me through losses and cheered my victories. Therapy, I said, and a postnuptial, and your parents don't get a dime unless we both agree it's a gift. Done, he said. Can I stay tonight? I poured him a glass of wine. Stay, but you're calling your parents first on speaker. Richard answered immediately. Michael, did you fix this? We need to rebook that cruise. Dad, Michael cut in, Laura is my wife. My family, if you can't treat her with the respect she's earned, you won't see either of us. The silence was heavy. You're choosing her? Alina's voice screeched. I'm choosing my marriage, Michael said. Victoria's been more family to you than I have. She saved your house, Mom. She bailaid out Lisa, every gift from us. That was Laura, and you excluded her from your cruise. We'll repay her, Alina said faintly. I don't want your money, I called out. I want an apology, a real one, and to be treated as your son's wife, family, or nothing. I nodded to Michael, who ended the call. That was terrifying, he said. That was necessary, I replied. We talked all night. About money, boundaries, the future, the kids we still wanted, and how we'd never let them treat their partners the way I'd been treated. The next morning, my phone was flooded with messages. I ignored most, but one caught my eye. Lisa, thank you, Laura, not just for the money, but for standing up. You've always been my real sister. I showed it to Michael. She's right, he said. You're the best part of this family. I'm sorry it took losing a cruise to see it. Better late than never, I said. What now? He asked. We live our lives, I said, together, as a family. If they want in, they know the cost. Respect. 3 weeks later, Alina called not to apologize, but to complain about a late utility bill. I'm sorry to hear that, I said politely. Have you tried a budgeting app? They're great for exceptions like me. She hung up. But 2 months later, Richard called, his voice heavy. Laura, we owe you a real apology. Can we take you and Michael to dinner? Our treat actually ours. It wasn't perfect, but it was a beginning. I rebooked the cruise 6 months later for Michael and me, a second honeymoon where I was wanted, welcomed, family. We sent the Thompsons a postcard from Barbados. Wish you were here, but only if you mean it. Because that's what family does. They mean it. And after 10 years of meaning it alone, I finally had a partner who did too. From our private veranda, Michael told a couple nearby, "This is my wife, Laura. She's the heart of our family." 2 words, our family, worth every penny of a $30,000 cruise, even if I paid for it. This time by choice.